All right, how do you ask for the canter? Excellent question. So I ask for the canter depending on, well, with a couple things in mind. First off, what is my discipline that I compete in, which is generally dressage or eventing, and what are any personal goals. So the discipline is important because of the rules of competition. Like dressage, you can't use your voice. So when I ask for canter, I can't use my voice in the end result, the final product. I can't use the voice. So I want to teach my horse how to go off of my leg and my hand, although as a personal goal, I like to keep in mind that I want to be able to ask for the canter without much rein cue, much rein aid, or no rein aid at all, aka bridleless, just because I think it's fun. So the easy answer for how do you ask for the canter is inside leg at the girth, outside leg back. And the less easy answer is what kind of horse are you riding? You're riding a young horse or an older horse, and what's your relationship with the horse? Do you know them well, or are they new to you? And that's important because the cue will be the same, but with slight variations to help you achieve the canter. So if I wanted to canter off to the left here on this horse, who I have a good relationship with and who is pretty well educated, I would just put my left leg at the girth and my right leg back, and we'd canter. Very easy. But if I were riding a different horse, a younger horse, maybe that I didn't know very well, I couldn't do that. One, they probably wouldn't know how to do a walk to canter. And two, they might not know my special way of asking, because everyone is different. Even though you put your inside leg at the girth and your outside leg back, your body does different things. Your energy is different. So every human asks differently, even though horses are clever enough to see the difference and to be able to infer that you might want to canter. So the younger horses just might not be on that level quite yet. So for them, especially if I have a horse that's never cantered before, like say I've got them started in the round pen and they've done some canters in there, but they've never done a canter in the big arena, I would go to trot. I'd have a good trot. And then I'd find a corner, because corners are really good to help support the horse and the rider into the correct lead. So like here, I'd sit inside like the girth, outside like the back, and he does it easily because he knows. But for the younger horse, they'd have that corner to support them, so that way they were more likely to get the correct answer, which is what you want in the beginning. You want to give your horse every opportunity to give you the correct answer. So like this direction, I sit inside like the girth, outside like back, use the corner for support on a young horse. I'm going to do it one more time. So inside leg is my right leg, inside, closest to the center of the arena. Outside leg is left right now. And so when I ask for the right lead, it's right leg at the girth, and outside leg, left leg, back. And I like to sit. I'm going to ask him to wait so we get a better transition. I like to put my inside leg at the girth and be able to put it there without getting the canter. So he kind of anticipates a little bit. But I like to be able to put my inside leg there, almost going shoulder in, and then my outside leg back. And that transition was a lot better because I asked him to wait. Good boy. And the reason I use that cue, the reason a lot of people, dressage people especially, use inside leg at the girth, outside leg back, is because it's more intuitive to our horses for when we ask for shoulder in, haunches in, which are similar cues, but slightly different. So they have, whenever you teach a cue, no matter how you teach it, you need to keep in mind the other things that you want to teach. So that way they don't conflict. Inside leg at the girth, outside leg back. It's a little bit slow. I'll do that one again. But you always keep those things in mind as a trainer. What does my horse need to know later? And does my cue for this thing conflict with those things? How do I differentiate? So the inside leg girth at the girth, outside leg back is less conflicting. That was a very good transition. Is less conflicting than maybe another cue might be. So it's very commonly used for dressage. Good boy. And again, we don't want to use voice because it's illegal in dressage. So I think that's why that's become our most common. See if we can get a little better transition, because they're all a little bit slow. We haven't been doing a lot of trot to canter transition, so maybe that's something we need to work on. Good boy. Another thing to think about is how much pressure do you want to use when you ask for canter. Like when I put my inside leg at the girth, it's not a lot of pressure. I'm not death gripping with my inside leg. It's very light. Outside leg maybe a little bit heavier because it's the final cue. It's how I confirm, yes, left lead canter. So inside leg is at the girth, and right now he might be thinking, well, maybe she just wants shoulder in. She just wants me to get my shoulder up. And then I say, oh, actually, let's left lead canter. And I take my outside leg back, and he canters. Good boy. Another good thing to know is how to get out of the canter. So the cue that I use, again thinking about what my discipline is, good boy, that was pretty good. What my discipline is, what are my personal goals. Getting out of the canter, I like to, 1, no voice, 2, how do I do it if I ever wanted to go bridleless? And the answer is sit up tall, close the upper leg, which is your knees, close the knees, and we come down to the walk or the trot. That one can be a little harder to differentiate. So if I wanted him to come to trot, I might have a little less pressure with my knees and then quickly go to my lower leg, my heel, to say keep trotting, to make sure he doesn't go to the walk. That one's a little trickier. I'll do a couple more this way. But back to the pressure thing. When I asked for canter, my inside leg is pretty light. I don't really know how to explain weight-wise, but 2-3 ounces maybe. Very light. It's just there. It's just enough that I know he can feel the difference between relaxed, like right now my leg is relaxed, we're just walking, I don't need anything. Now I've moved my leg and I've added a little pressure, and he started to move out a little. He's starting to get his shoulder up. He's starting to move into a shoulder in. If I use the right rein aid, he's going to move into a shoulder in. And I say, okay, this is good. Thank you. And then I could leave it at that, or if I wanted to go to canter, I'd leave my leg right where it is, and then I'd take my left leg back behind the girth, and we'd go to canter. And the outside leg is pretty much just as light as the inside. Just enough pressure that I know the horse can feel it. And again, for your young horses, that might not mean anything to them right now. So you always want to start with that aid, start with your light pressure, and then if they don't do anything, you can add some pressure. If I put this inside leg, right leg at the girth, left leg went back and nothing happened, then I might squeeze a little bit harder. And again, this would probably be from trot for a young horse. But sit down, right leg at the girth, left leg back, and if nothing happened, maybe squeeze a little bit harder. Probably will squeeze a little harder with the inside leg because it's going to keep you in a better balance for the right lead. And then if they're still not getting it, you might wave your whip a little bit, create some energy to help them think forward. That's probably a whole nother video. But in the how do you ask for the canter question, it depends. What kind of horse are you riding? What is your discipline? What is your end goal? One more time. I'll ask for canter. Sit. Inside leg at girth. I also have a little bit of outside rein here because I'm trying to make this a nice pretty circle. So I want some bend. And that's where the inside leg is important because you're asking for a little bit of bend, picking the shoulder up before you go into canter with the outside leg. A little more forward here, Frizzle. Good boy. So yeah, how do you ask for the canter? Depends on your horse, your discipline, and your goals. Good boy.